On today's show, our review of the Logitech G27.
Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm your host, Jessica Lopez. We have a special report for you today. It's very special. Don't be jealous. We have the predecessor to the G25. That's right, the G27 force feedback racing wheel and pedals by Logitech. As you can see, Sean here is driving and much into.
Yeah, I am.
And if that's not enough, we also have Race On by Simbin, and he's driving in the Road America track. Driving what looks like to be a Cadillac.
Yeah, all right, I should probably stop. Yeah, I'm driving the Cadillac CTS-V and one of my favorite racing cars and enjoying that on Race On, but more importantly, G27.
And speaking of Race On, this is an unreleased title, and we'd like to thank Eve over at Viva Media for getting us a copy of that. And we hear that it's supposed to be released on September the 15th. You can pre-order it now at Amazon.com. Back to our G27 here.
I think you mentioned what a big deal it was, and you know, even to kind of rub that in, there have been spy photos for months. I mean, we actually put one on our show. Turns out it looks like it was about the right photo too.
We get a lot of questions about this wheel as well. We like to thank Ruben Mukherjee, sorry about that, Ruben, and Chris Pate for getting this wheel into our hands so we could be one of the first on the block to do a review.
And be able to show it to all you out there. And you know, it's great because Logitech, they've been thought of as the go-to wheel in the PlayStation or the PC market. They make a high-end, a low-end, and I think this wheel, I mean, the G25 is kind of revolutionary, and this one being here now is very exciting.
So on that note, we're gonna get right into the heart of the G27. We're gonna start off with the specs on the wheel.
There you go.
The G27 has a dual motor single reduction force feedback transmission. Instead of straight cut gears like the G25, the G27 now has helical gears, which reduces the noise generated while still producing the same amount of torque as its predecessor. The wheel is 11 inches in diameter and is wrapped in leather. It now features 6 buttons on the spokes and has 2 stainless steel paddle shifters. The wheel also now features LEDs to act as an RPM gauge or shift indicator. All right, guys, so there you have it. Everything you need to know about the G27 wheel compared to the G25. And next up, before we move forward, what Sean looks like what car are you driving in here, Sean? Sean?
I'm driving the Camaro.
Sean's very into with what he's doing. He's driving the Camaro on what looks like to be Laguna Seca. So I'm gonna go ahead and move forward and give you guys the specs on the pedals and the shifter. Starting with the shifter module, it features 8 buttons and an 8-way D-pad. The internals of the 6-speed shifter have been redesigned to have greater centering force and a more positive feel. The pedal set offers a gas, brake, and clutch that remains mostly unchanged from the G25. New additions include the ability to adjust the pedal faces, as well as the brake and clutch standoffs being increased by up to 13 millimeters to enhance heel-toe braking. Welcome back. This next segment of the show is sponsored by simboot.com. And thank you for joining us today.
Hi everybody.
Nice to see you got away from that game finally.
Yeah, I've been a little taken by it.
Preoccupied, that's right, I understand. So now it's time for Darren and Sean's 8-category review system here for the G27.
Break it all the way down, and this is great because we never actually did the review, or at least the scores for a G25. So even though we have the G27, we're going to go through all the categories and score it, but we're also going to go back in time and make some scores up for the G25 and see how they compare and have the full thing done.
And all of this is mounted onto your Game Racer Elite here, which you're driving in, ready to go. So let's go ahead and take you to the review.
So here I am with Darren, and
hey everybody.
Getting down to the heavy review portion of the G27. We got our cheat sheets here with all of our scores.
Yes, we do. Also scored the G25, like Sean mentioned,
That's right.
to do a little comparison because we never have.
Exactly.
Did a little, I think it was in episode 2, SRT 2, we did
Right.
a piece on the G25. I just kind of showed everybody what it was. but-
Before we knew or even had a scale.
Yeah, no, we didn't have a rating scale back then. So
So, not to put you on the spot, Jessica and I spent the whole beginning of the show looking for the words to describe how big a deal or event this is. How do you feel
this is
going
big,
into it?
especially for PC sim racers waiting for this wheel. They've been waiting for the next coming from Logitech,
Yep.
and here it is. So I'd say at the beginning of this is kind of a combination between a DFGT and a G25.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely got some of the stuff from that they learned, the smoothness.
And right here we got the Game Racer.
Game Racer Elite, got this thing set up in there with the Carbo seat. I think I mispronounced that in our review of this rig, but
Corbeau.
yeah, this is a great rig for this. Great for console and PC racing, so we're using that and running Race On. Anyway, let's get to what we're here for, G27
Let's just
review.
get right to it, huh?
Yeah, let's alternate.
All right, I'll go first.
You go first.
I'm going to start off with the wheel. This is probably the main area. I mean, the wheel itself. We're talking the wheel itself. And I myself have smaller hands, and I like smaller diameter wheels, also smaller circumference. It was sort of like a redo of the G25 wheel. The actual stitched leather is very similar.
Yep.
The spokes.
A little softer, maybe, I would say.
Yeah, and the spokes are a little bit larger to
Yep.
accommodate what is now 6 buttons on the wheel.
Yep.
And you also have the LED. I don't know if you want to call it a shift light indicator. I call it sort of a digital tack. I think that's...
Yeah, and a few comments for me on this. The lights really didn't add much of a value for me because they're so low.
Right.
Cool
Yeah.
feature. Worked in Race On.
Yeah.
iRacing,
Just like
right
that.
out of the box. Didn't
Yep.
have to even install any plugins. They
Yep.
worked right out of the box, which was really cool. And the wheel's decent. 11-inch wheel, nothing special. Why don't you tell them our scores?
All right. Well, you gave... I'm going to actually start off with the G25. You gave it an 80, and they've improved that slight with the G27, and it's now an 83. For me, I'm a little bit more of a fan of the feel, the hand grip of the Logitech, so I gave the G25 an 88, and the G27's gone all the way up to a 94 because you know I love buttons.
Yep. And
Oh, I want to mention one thing about the buttons, though. Sorry. As much as it's nice seeing 6 of them, they're very gamey feeling buttons.
and for me, I have a little bit bigger hands. They're too close together for me.
Yeah.
They were really tight on that wheel.
Yeah,
but,
you
but
could
cool to
almost-
have. I mean, it
definitely.
definitely adds to the wheel. Another thing, really quick too, is just the smoothness of this wheel. I mean, you can't even hear it. And we're going to do a close-up boot up for you right here. We'll show it for you.
Yeah. And that's due to the helical gears. So that's actually something I didn't mention during the wheel, which is very important. But the original G25 had straight cut gears
Right.
and made a lot of noise.
This doesn't.
Not-
Smooth as silk,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
For gears especially.
course.
All right, pedals. I get pedals. And got some props here for you. We got this. I got the G27 pedals, right, Sean?
Yeah, and I have-
actually, you can't really see, there's not that much of a difference. But
And we almost didn't do this. I mean, like the wheel, you got great shots of it because it's easy to show, but the wheels are usually down there under our feet.
Right.
And it's hard to see, but if you look, you can actually see the difference.
Well, and look at the back here.
There you
See,
go.
there's different mounting points here, right? And there's 3 holes, and then the old ones don't have that. So
And
you got a little bit of adjustability
No.
now on the pedals.
So you can move them left and right. All 3 pedals can move independently.
Where on the G25s you couldn't. Identical pedals other than that.
Well, and then also the stagger.
Right.
So these are flat across, and the new ones actually have the gas pedal back a little bit for the guys who heel toe a lot.
Right. So pedals, original G25 pedals, 85. 1 point more for both of us. 85 for both of us. We were in. By the way, scored them blind. I scored them first. Told Sean, send me your numbers, and I'll plug them into our spreadsheet here. 85 for both of us on the old ones. 86 is for the new ones.
Yeah, just a slight improvement there.
Yep.
Next up is construction and durability. I'm not going to take a lot of time here. A lot of this is very, very similar in terms of the casing for both the pedals, the wheel. The shifter is slightly different in that it's not switchable from up and down to 6-speed, and that actually got rid of a little of the clunkiness. So, I
Right.
mean, that's kind of...
A little bit better construction.
A little bit, but ultimately the construction's the same. I think that kind of functions better. Ultimately, it's a great, solid wheel. You gave the G25 a 95. You gave the G27 a 95. I gave them both 86s, so not as impressed with all the plastic maybe, but
yeah, and
well done.
Yeah, I guess my score was more on the durability.
Yeah.
Because this thing's, you know, the G25 we have is yet to have any problems.
Yep.
And as clunky as it may be, I guess I may have taken a little bit of functionality off you know, for the shifter, but you know, these things are built well, built to last.
They definitely are.
Next up, plug and play ability, and then we're going to take a quick break. Plug and play ability. Logitech, man, you can't beat it.
No.
Same as the G25 as it was for the G27. 95s across the board.
Did Logitech invent plug and play ability?
Man, you know what? It would be 100 if you didn't have to change the sliders.
Right.
You know, because we have to dial the sliders into,
Yeah.
like we usually take the dampening out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, our settings really quick. Usually run 900 degrees of rotation, center spring checked, slider to 0 on center spring, dampening is down to 0, the spring effect is down to 0, force feedback at 100.
Yep.
So anyway, 95s across the board. And that's going to do it for this segment.
Halfway point.
Was sponsored by simboot.com.
Simboot.
Thanks to them.
Yep, you've seen me wearing my sim boots.
Yep. Yes, indeed. And before we get going, I want to thank one more sponsor of the show, Jack's Coffee. Jack's has a motorsport series coffees, and this is the Crankin' Coffee, and Sean's got the
Chrome Horn coffee.
Man, this stuff smells good.
And it was just in time, too, because, you know, this wheel came in late, and we want to get it done well and quick. A lot of late nights hammering on this
And we
wheel.
had race on at last minute, so we were up late drinking some Jack's coffee.
Thank you,
and
Jack.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jack, for that. And drinking the coffee up late, running the G27 on race on. So thanks to them. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the last 4 categories and overall.
All right, we're at the halfway point. We got 4 more categories left on this G27 wheel, pedals, and shifter set here. And so far it's holding up good against the competition.
Looking very good. We got those categories, final thoughts, and it's on pace. We're going to have to find out if it's the first wheel to break 90 overall.
Well, let's find out.
All right, we're back here for the last 4 categories for our G27 wheel and pedal review. Darren Ganji here with Sean Cole. And first up, mounting and installation.
Yeah, that's
your
mine.
category.
And before I get to that, I'm going to mention one more time we were using the Game Racer Elite for the review today. And you can check them out at gameracer.us. Also, we have their monitor stand being used as a keyboard holder. That worked out kind of cool. And we did turn around the steering column, which actually gave me a little more foot room. So that's 2 things to kind of add to the review.
That we left out of that review, yeah.
Exactly. Anyway,
so
back
mounting
to the show.
installation.
Mounting and installation. Logitech, you know, they do a great job. They actually do some of the better clamps. I always advise people to drill things and
every piece has
mount.
hard mount points. Even the shifter has hard mount.
2 bolts. You just put them in there and things are...
Actually, you can see some of here on the bottom.
Yeah, the pedals, the shifter, the wheel,
right
all
there,
of
some
it.
of the hard mount right there.
You know, but they got their carpet grips and all that stuff. I mean, Logitech, they do pretty good in this category. We actually, the G25 is no different than this wheel. We gave them 90 all the way across the board, both Darren and I, for both wheels.
Yeah, and they're calling this the replacement to the G25. So it's basically plug and play. You take your G25 stuff out and plug this one right in.
And if you've drilled it, the holes will be the same.
Yep. Next up, force feedback. And doesn't seem to have the dead zone that the G25 have. And when we say dead zone, there's no dead zone in the, I mean, the steering is still functioning. But it seems that the force feedback at that center spot was just kind of...
Like there's a little on-off switch, and when you get in there, it just kind of turns off.
Kind of like a big center spring spot. So that seems to be gone. Solid force feedback, a little chattery because of the gear drive.
Yeah,
this
I've
one kind
actually
of
heard
thumps.
Yeah, when you hit a big bump, you get a weird noise after.
Still solid force feedback. 82 for me for the G25, 85 for Sean. For the G27s, I gave it an 85. Sean gave it a 90.
And that takes us to cost. You know, it's made of plastic mostly, but well made. You get the shifter, the wheel, great force feedback, the
You know,
pedals.
optical sensors on the pedals. We've never had any problems with our sets.
Plug and play, its durability. I mean, it's a great wheel across the board. They're coming in at $299 in their brand new variations. And also, I think when we were doing the scores, we were thinking of the G25 back in its day, because its price has come down a lot, but it'd be unfair to compare it that way. Anyway, in cost, Darren gave both wheels a $95. I gave the G25. The G27 gave you just a little bit more for the money and gave it a $92.
Yeah, I think they're same bang for the buck for both. Again, the G27 is an upgrade of the G25.
It's like an evolution.
It is. And you know what? If you're a G25 owner, we're not going to tell you go out and run out and get this wheel. If you were considering getting a G25 and you haven't yet, get the G27 instead.
Or like mine, the grease is kind of dried up. It's a very noisy G25. It works perfectly, but it makes a lot of noise.
You want to upgrade it? Get the G27.
Yeah.
So cost, I think it's definitely worth the $300. It's a good, and those pedals, man, that's a good set of pedals for a combo pack.
Yeah.
Last up on our 8 category rating scale is functionality. You know, with the addition of the extra buttons comes a better score for me compared to the G25, and then the 6-speed shifter has been improved. One of the things about the PS3 functionality is you get kind of lost with the buttons because they're not marked, so you don't know which is the X, what's the O, stuff like that. No big deal. One of the things that I was kind of miffed about, I guess, and I thought for sure that they would make this compatible with an Xbox 360, and I know a lot of other people were waiting for that, and I know you Xbox guys are going to be disappointed. Logitech has not told us if they're going to make an Xbox compatible wheel.
And it doesn't say it on the box. I mean,
it's definitely not. No, it's PS3 and PC. So 92 for me for this wheel, 89 for the G25. And just because of the more buttons and stuff, I gave it a higher score. Sean gave it a 90s for both.
Yep.
G25 and G27. So that brings us to overall. We used to give you guys a 90.123 and all that.
What are we, scientists?
Yeah, we're just going to give you guys the rounded scores. And Sean, why don't you give them?
I'll give mine and you give yours. How about that?
Well, they're the same, so.
Yeah, we actually, I don't know how this works out. I gave the G25 an 88, and I gave the G27 a 91.
Actually, my G25 rounds up to 89 now that I look at it.
Yeah?
So I got an 89 on the G25 and a 90 on the G27. So, you know, and that's rounded scores, but our first wheel to score in the 90s.
Yeah, and I mean, 91 for me, 90 from you. This is an excellent wheel. $300, I mean, it's not a cheap wheel. They're not giving them away, but you get a ton for the money. I mean, you're getting a shifter.
And the people considering a DFGT, you know, they're this baby brother model to this, you know what? Those pedals are worth the extra money.
Yeah,
I would buy this set over the DFGT set because of the pedals.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're going for, you know, Gran Turismo 5 and you want that dial and all that, you know what? These pedals are awesome for the money.
I agree completely.
So that's
any final thoughts? I mean, we kind of covered it there.
Yeah, I think we did cover it. Great package. Logitech does it again. You know, if you know, you guys that were expecting some huge leap from Logitech, load cell break or something like that. I mean, I guess I was kind of hoping for something like that, Xbox 360 compatibility.
That would have been good.
But it's still a great wheel and pedal combo. If you think about their progression in wheels, DFP to the DFGT, G25 now to this. I mean, they don't take huge steps, but they make improvements.
They do, and you can tell that they learned from one wheel. I mean, the DFP, it's a lower wheel, but it seems like they learned a little bit from the success of that wheel and brought that to the G27.
Exactly.
You know, again, it's quieter, it's smoother. The force feedback seems slightly enhanced. I mean, there are definitely and the shifter being a little less clunky. I mean, there are definitely some very strong aspects to this new wheel.
Yes, indeed. So that's going to do it for our ratings.
All right.
Let's send it back to you and Jessica to end this.
There you go.
End this puppy.
Well, it looks like I've been kicked out of my seat.
You look like you're having way too much fun, so I had to join in on the fun with you.
All right, well, there you go. I'll go ahead and finish the show up. And what a great show, our special report on the G27.
Thank you guys for joining us, and make sure if it's your first time watching or if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
And this wheel is not yet available. Will be available end of September sometime, so we hear.
Even driving, you do it.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know when it's available. We'll have it on our Amazon store at our website.
So for Darren, for myself, Sean, and for Jessica, the checkered flag is out, and so are we.
Special thanks to our sponsors, Viva Media, Game Racer, Jack's Coffee House, Vision Racer, and SimBoot. Also, thanks to Logitech,